Hey everyone! So today we're going to be learning words that you can use when talking about the weather. Holy weather, Batman! And we're going to be going over both beginner words and intermediate words. The first word we have is the most basic, and that's the word for the weather, which is 날씨. This is just the word for weather in general. You can use it anytime you want to say the weather is whatever. The most basic way you're going to say the weather's good or bad is actually with just the verbs to be good and to be not good, which I'll tell you. 좋다, 안 좋다. So literally to be good, to not be good. This is very natural sounding. You can say 날씨가 좋다, 좋아요, or 안 좋아요. This might seem to you like, oh, that's basic. I'll sound like a beginner if I say that. No, this is what Koreans say. So feel free to use it. So you could just say, how's the weather? 아주 좋아요. 날씨가 정말 진짜 너무 좋아요. So how do you ask someone how the weather is? You use the verb 어떻다. 어떻다 means to be how. Most often it's going to be 어때, 어때요. 날씨가 어때요? How is the weather? That's all. There is another word though you might see for the weather. 기상 is another word that means weather, but it comes from Chinese. Because of that, it has a formal feel. Don't use this one in speech, but just know you might see this word also. It means weather. One other word you will see for weather is 일기, but it's used specifically in this word, 일기예보. 예보 means forecast. So 일기예보 is weather forecast. So if you want to search how the weather is going to be on a certain day, 일기예보 will give you all of the information you want. So what are the most common types of weather that you should know? Depending on where you live, this is going to be completely different. The most common weather event you're going to need to talk about is B, rain. He was also a very influential, successful Korean singer back in like 2006, remember? And the way you say that it's raining is you have two options. You would say 비가, and then you can either use 오다, which means to come, or 내리다, which means to fall. Both have the same meaning. 어제 비가 많이 왔어요. 어제, yesterday, 비가 많이 왔어요. 많이 오다. It rained a lot. 많이 왔어요. Yesterday, it rained a lot. Next is snow. Snow is 눈. 눈 is also used with the exact same two verbs. You can say 오다 or 내리다. 밖에 눈이 내려요. It's snowing outside. You don't have to say 내리고 있어요 to say it is snowing, because the regular 요 conjugation can mean it is doing that, unless you need to emphasize it is, it has been. You could also say 눈이 와요. 바람, to blow, wind. If you want to say it's windy, you would say wind blows. 바람이 불다. 바람이 많이 불어요. So it is very windy. 많이 불어요. Wind blows a lot. So it is very windy. What if the weather is just clear, not cloudy? You can use this verb, which is pronounced as 맑다. 맑다 means to be clear and sunny. Another word you might use, 화창하다, bright and sunny. So not specifically that it's clear, but you're saying it's just bright and sunny. 날씨가 화창해서. So because the weather is bright and sunny, 기분이 좋아요. 기분이 좋다 means to feel good. 기분 is your mood. How you feel is your 기분. If your 기분 is 좋다, means you feel good. If it is 안 좋다, you feel bad. 날씨가 화창해서 기분이 좋아요. So I feel good because the weather is bright and sunny. Next we have 안개. 안개 is fog. If you want to say it's foggy, you use the verb 끼다. 안개가 끼다. 흐리다 is to be cloudy. That's all you need to know for the types of weather. Next, I want to talk a bit about the seasons. So 계절 means a season. In Korea, you're going to hear people say that Korea has what's known as 사계절. 사 meaning four, 계절, seasons. 4 seasons. It's true, they do have 4 distinct seasons, and some places in the world, many places in the world don't. You'll hear people talk about how they have 4 seasons. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to answer it. 어떤 계절을 가장 좋아해요? 어떤, what kind of 계절. So literally what kind of season, but that's how you'd say what season. 어떤 계절을 가장 좋아해요? What season do you like the most? What's your favorite season? You have some options. We have 봄, spring, 여름 for summer, 가을 for fall or autumn, and 겨울 for winter. So all of you, 어떤 계절을 가장 좋아해요? What's your favorite season? Now let's go on to how to talk about the temperature. 춥다 means that you feel cold. So for cold weather, you're going to say 춥다. And for hot weather, when you feel hot, 덥다. 너무 추워요. It's too cold. 별로 안 더워요. It's not that hot. 별로 is a negative adverb, so it has to be used with a negative verb. In this case, 안 덥다, not hot. And it means not really, not that, not so much. 별로 안 더워요. So it's not that hot. And it's so cold. Next, 따뜻하다 means to be warm. Okay. Normally, you would never say the weather is 뜨겁다 because 뜨겁다 means to be physically hot to the touch. But you can use 뜨겁다 to talk about the weather if it is very hot. The other thing you should know, you should be familiar with these terms. 섭씨 is Celsius and 화씨 is Fahrenheit. These are different, obviously. Everywhere in the world uses 섭씨, except the US. We're too cool for that. We have 화씨. 섭씨 is what Korea uses. So Celsius, Fahrenheit. So then how do you talk about the temperature? Well, there are actually 3 words you need to know. When you're talking about the weather temperature, you're going to use 기온. And then 온도 simply is the temperature of something. So if you're talking about your own temperature, you wouldn't say your 온도. If you're talking about the weather, you're not going to use 온도 either. Okay, so then how do you tell the temperature? Well, you're going to need one counter, 도. 도 uses Sino-Korean numbers. 1, 2, 3, like that. You also might find 영하 is below 0. So if it's below 0, you would say 영하 and then 도, like that. So that's how you tell the temperature. Now, I want to ask you a question. I want you to answer it. 지금 몇 도예요? So now, literally, how many degrees is it? So what temperature is it now? I want you to answer this question. How many degrees is it now? Next, we need to talk about something that is very essential to talking about the weather, and that is talking about the air. The basic word for air is 공기. 공기 means air. You can say the air is good. You can say the air is bad. You can say the air is delicious. There are some aspects of the air that you're going to want to talk about. The first one is 황사. 황사 is yellow dust. And specifically, it comes from the Gobi Desert. This is a natural phenomenon. Yearly, around springtime, the winds carry this dust over into Korea. During this time, the air is not good. So you want to wear a mask. Take it seriously because if you're breathing in a lot of it and you're sensitive to that sort of thing, it can make you cough. I am pretty sensitive to weather quality, specifically air quality. Maybe someday they can install sprinklers in the Gobi Desert and that'll fix everything, right? The next thing you need to know, 미세먼지, fine dust. 먼지 is a regular word in Korean for just dust. So 미세 just means fine. So fine dust. And we have it everywhere. It's in the US too. But in Korea, some days will be high 미세먼지. Lots of 미세먼지. There's 미세먼지. There's also 초미세먼지, which is like the ultra fine dust, which is even more harmful to you. But anyway, look up 미세먼지 in a weather app. If you're in Korea, you might consider wearing a mask if you are sensitive to that. The next thing you need to know about the air is in the winter, Korean air can be very dry, 건조하다. And I'm sure it's the same anywhere that it gets really, really cold. You might want to say something like this. 겨울이라서. So because it is winter, 겨울, 조금, a little bit, 건조해요. It's a little bit dry because it's winter. 겨울이라서 조금 건조해요. To say that it's humid, you're going to use the verb 습하다. 습하다 means to be humid. Or you're also going to see the word 습도. 습도 means the amount of humidity. So this is humidity. And you could say the humidity is high with 높다. Or you can say it's low with 낮다. So you'll also hear people say 습도가 높다, 습도가 낮다 when they say the weather is humid or not humid. So that's the end of the lesson. Oh, yeah. There's one more thing. Once a year, and this changes, but it could be around June or July, there is what's known as 장마 in Korea, which is the rainy season. During the rainy season, it rains a lot more than normal. It might rain for 2 weeks straight. Not every single second, but like the weather will be rainy weather. So yeah, just know that once a year, there's a rainy season in Korea. It's called 장마. That's not everything about the weather, but those are the most common things you're going to want to talk about the weather. And I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.